Hello and welcome to Phantom Forces Weapon Spotlight, a series where I give a more subdued and informative look on the weapons of Phantom Forces. In this episode, I'll be covering the AUG HBAR. The AUG HBAR is a mag-fed LMG unlocked at rank 27. It deals 31 damage up to 90 studs and falls off to 23 damage by 170 studs. It fires at 650 RPM with a 1x body multiplier and a 1.4x head multiplier. The muzzle velocity is 2800 studs per second, and the penetration depth is 1.6 studs. Here is a shot skill table. It has medium to high recoil and it holds 42 rounds in the magazine with 210 rounds in reserve of 5.56 NATO rounds. The reload speed is 3.2 seconds and the empty reload speed is 4 seconds. It has a 12.5 walk speed and a 12 aim speed. The AUG HBAR is an LMG that has pretty vexing stats. It's got very good and extremely consistent range with a pretty slow fire rate. This may lead you to believe that it's good for medium to long ranges. Well, not really, no, since it has quite a bit of recoil, much more than the other rifles in the AUG family. Okay, then what if you use the AUG HBAR in a close range situation or to hold choke points like other LMGs? The HBAR doesn't really hold up in this case either, as having a slow fire rate in close range is not ideal to say the least. And also the HBAR doesn't have much walk speed either. In terms of holding choke points, it's also not very good since the mag size isn't as big as other LMGs and you can just get outgunned by other LMGs anyway. So by default, the AUG HBAR seems to be trying to do a whole lot of things at once and just sort of fails at everything. We can try to salvage the HBAR through attachments, and since the only thing we can really do is reduce recoil, in my opinion, going for as much recoil reduction as possible and then just sticking to using the HBAR at medium or so ranges seems to be the best option. Hanging back a bit and just don't play aggressively. To summarize, the HBAR is a pretty mediocre weapon overall, mostly because it can't really fully utilize all the range it has. I rate the HBAR in C tier. It's not really that good of a weapon. It used to be a much better weapon, but years of minor nerfs just finally caught up to it. Hell, it just got nerfed again last week. The .22 long rifle F88T conversion is, it's another one of those wacky 22 long rifle conversions. It deals 22 damage up to 80 studs and falls off to 12 damage by 125 studs. The fire rate remains the same, but the body multiplier is increased to 1.2 times and the head multiplier 2.5 times. The muzzle velocity is reduced to 1900 studs per second and the penetration depth is reduced to 0.5 studs. Here is a shot skill table. It has very low recoil and it holds 20 rounds in the magazine with 240 rounds in reserve of .22 long rifle rounds. The reload speed is 2.6 seconds and the empty reload speed is 3.5 seconds. It has a increased 13 walk speed and a default 12 aim speed. Compared to the default HBAR, the F88T conversion has a much clearer and also much more flexible playstyle. Like other 22 long rifle conversions, the defining features of the F88T is that it has very high head multiplier and virtually no recoil. This means that it's quite easy to use, but since the F88T only has 20 rounds in the magazine, some ammo management might be required. Since it doesn't have that much range, ideally you should play a little aggressively, but stick to medium range and just aim for headshots since it's a 2-shot kill. Don't be over ambitious though, as the fire rate and the walk speed is still quite slow, so being in close range isn't the best idea. Alternatively, you can also just try to be a sniper and stick to the backlines. It's not that good of a strategy though, because the damage does fall off a lot, but you have no recoil, you can still hit people anyway. And with the ballistics tracker, you can possibly get a 4-shot headshot at that range, but I wouldn't really know. I give the F88T a B tier. It's pretty fun, but it's also pretty average. The close bolt mod in the other slot increases your recoil recovery but reduces your fire rate. This attachment is a rather personal choice, I'd say. For me, the fire rate reduction on an already slow weapon is quite the death sentence, so I would never run this attachment, and I recommend that you don't touch this attachment either. But on the other hand, it does genuinely reduce your recoil quite a bit, so I understand if some people do want to use it, and especially on larger maps, I can see that it could be a little useful, but again, personally, I'm not touching this thing. And that concludes this episode of Phantom Force's Weapon Spotlight. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel as it helps a lot. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.